One of the big things that no one really ever talks about is dominance and intimidation. So it seems like a lot of what men are optimizing for isn't necessarily attractiveness. It's their ability to intimidate other men. So there's this really, really interesting study done by David Putz, and they brought men and women into the lab to look at photos and videos of guys. And they asked the women how attractive they thought they were, and asked the men how likely they thought it would be that they could beat that man in a fight. 12 months later, they assessed the men that were on the iPad and asked them how many sexual partners that they'd had. The female rating of facial attractiveness had 0 predictive ability in how many mates they had. But the man's intimidation metric was very correlated. So men who are most successful in the mating marketplace, at least in that regard, are doing it through dominance rather than through attraction. So a lot of the things that guys, like when men are in the presence of other women and other men, they lower their voice, because a lower voice, larger voice box, vocal folds, is a sign of high androgen response, so like more aggression, and being bigger. Like just being bigger is good and protective for you. So David, the same guy, told me about when he was in graduate school, and he was waiting at the checkout to be served at a supermarket. And he could hear these 2 guys behind him, and they were speaking super low. And he thought, oh my God, like the jazz singers behind me, is this 2 old men? And he turned around and it was 2 guys that were around about his age, like early 20s or something. But in between him and them was a really hot girl. And both of these guys' voices were super low, because that's this sort of this posturing thing. But you also see it very interestingly, men, when they're in communication with other men that they think are more intimidating or dominant than they are, they'll raise their voice up a little bit and they'll speak around about here. And that's because you don't need to worry about me. I'm not going to threaten you at all. And it's just baked into the way that we see the world. Like, we don't want to get on the wrong side of the hard guy that might piss us off. I'm one of your allies. You don't need to worry about me. But you got nothing to worry about. But it's not always the same when it's the reverse.
And for the sexual partners, I think you saying dominance was a big correlation on that, or intimidation. Couldn't those be the people, though, that are more likely to make moves and like more likely to go up and talk to the girl?
Remember, this is only the way that they look. This is literally just the way that they look.
No, I understand that. But when you come back a year later and you correlate that to how many partners they've had, the people who looked a little bit, or the people that were more, what were we saying, more intimidating?
They looked, so the men said, do you think that you could beat this person in a fight?
Right.
That was and the more people that did say that they could beat him in a fight, presumably they look less intimidating. Fewer people that did, presumably they look more intimidating. It's just, the interesting thing is that you think, oh my God, how is like male ratings of intimidation more predictive than female ratings of attractiveness? Like, how is that? How does that work? And it just seems like, I mean, Peterson's talked about this for ages, right? That you have a dominance hierarchy where the men compete between each other and then the women pick off the top. Okay. And that's why wealth is the best mating game ever created, because it's one single unitary number that's like, oh, that's how competent you are. Women don't care about the money. Some care about the money. Most women aren't in it for the money. What they're in it for is the predictor that allows men to achieve that amount of money, which is their competence and their hard work and all the rest of the stuff. This is what I think about the gym. Like, most people think that going to the gym and building a big body it's just about the way that you look. But I think the signal of, I'm someone that is able to make sacrifices. I'm someone that's reliable. I'm somebody that cares about themselves. I'm someone that can overcome hard things. I'm someone that can deal with discomfort and pain. That's kind of sexy. Like, upstream from you being in good shape are all of these other traits that people probably want in a partner, right?